The West African Food System Resilience Program is a project under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, funded by the World Bank and promoted by ECOWAS to address food insecurity in the sub-region of West Africa, as well as build the systems that work together to provide food on our table, from research up to the table. When you mention ECOWAS in Ghana, what comes into mind is peacekeeping. ECOWAS has done very well in keeping peace. But how do you keep peace when people are hungry? And ECOWAS has now opened a new frontier. And they've done very well to ensure that they work together with all of us, push us together, so together we can deliver something to our people. And it's been organized into phases. Phase 1 involving Mali, Niger, Togo, Benin, and Burkina. Phase 2, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Chad. And there's a phase 3 which has just begun, beginning with Senegal. And the background to this is the fact that the whole West Africa is one people. We eat the same food. We wear similar clothes. What changes is the name. And in like manner, we are all affected by the same climatic conditions and also man-made and natural conditions like terrorism, population explosion and migration. Then lately, climate variation, which is called climate change. For us in Ghana, you can realize that our famed Volta River takes its source from Burkina. So we depend on them. But you realize that if we are organizing any projects in Ghana, seldom do we take that into consideration. That is why sometimes Burkina is opening its border, Bagre Dam, and its floods. ECOWAS think that it's time we should work together to build a common market, to accept the fact that we have people to build a common market, to build our systems together, so that we can work to put synergies together, to be able to manage the impact of the global dynamics. Each country in West Africa was asked to choose 3 main value chains where it has a competitive or comparative advantage. In Ghana, we chose rice, maize, tomatoes, and poultry with emphasis on broiler. Then we negotiated to add soya because soya is a major input into broiler production. In Ghana, based on our history of project management, we've anchored activity on 3 main themes: sustainability, ownership, and public-private engagement. Most projects in Ghana, if you go around, if they end 2-3 years, it's difficult to find footprints. So before we invest in any activity or embark on any activity, we ask ourselves and the beneficiary, how do we work together to ensure that if the project ends, whatever that we deliver, it will live on to benefit our people. So we work that sustainability as defined in the project. The second theme is ownership. We think that every investment should be owned. It can be private, it can be public, it can be government, private. But we should identify the bona fide owner so that we can talk about accountability. Then the third pillar is to, as much as possible, to promote consciously public-private engagement, so that we ask ourselves, this investment or this activity, how do we get the private sector to be interested as a client, as an investor, or a partner? We ask ourselves this question, and we build every activity right from scratch with the private sector. We ask them questions, identify the needs, so that we build it into the activity. Component 1 deals with application of technology into agriculture. How do we use digital services and tools to provide accurate, reliable, and relevant information to the stakeholders in the value chain, and also to prevent food crisis, climate is critical to agriculture, especially water. So we work with GMET. Well, GMET gives advisory services generally, but we are looking at agriculture and work with them. We've provided them with tools, automatic weather stations, some automatic weather stations to augment what they have so that their predictions will be more accurate. And we've worked with them to install it in various parts of the country. And we move on to also provide them with the management information services tools that will ensure that when the information is captured at this station, it will automatically transferred to our people wherever they are. And we've linked them up with all the districts in the country, the agri extension officers, to ensure that farmers will get this information on their tablets, on their mobile phones. And the NCA, National Communication Authority, has also provided a platform for us to get the three main telecom operators, MTN, Telcel, and AT. Component 2 is to look at how to build an effective and efficient system to ensure that agriculture operates from research up to the consumer. And that is why in component 2, we're looking at our research institutions to build the capacity, the systems. We're going to rehabilitate a lot of them and also build the capacity of the research officers to redirect their focus to ensure that their work becomes relevant to the cause of the stakeholders in the value chains. So we're working with CSIR, the other ministries of trade, Standards Board, and all the allied partners. And we're also looking at the system, the land acquisition and land management, land preparation. We're looking at how to harvest rain, irrigation, to ensure that we can get adequate rainfall, harness it for farmers to use to work throughout the whole year. So we are rehabilitating a huge irrigation projects in the Asuchari, Weta in the Volta region, Asuchari in the Greater Accra region, Via in the Upper East region, Tanoso in the Bono East, as well as inner valleys in the Bono East, Ashanti, and the eastern regions. We've identified some of them, rehabilitating them, and more importantly, set up systems for its management to ensure sustainability. Then also, we're looking at the fact that when you farm, you don't destroy the environment. So we look at any farming community, any farming establishment as part of the whole community, so that every activity should redound towards the sustainability of the environment. So we call it integrated land management. In view of the climate change, we need climate smart varieties of seeds. Seeds that can withstand heat, early yielding, high output to make farming more attractive. So that, because you can't change the climate, but you can manage its effect so that it becomes easier for agriculture to go on. So we are using technologies, climate smart technologies, about seeds, about land preparation. We're also looking at helping the farmers to use tools which will not destroy the land. That is component 2. Component 3 looks at organizing the fact that as we produce, we also trade in the West African sub-region. That's why ECOWAS is more interested in that we should organize the fact that trading has been going on, especially in agribusiness. We've been trading. Our farmers go to Niger with Burkina with plantains, they go to Nigeria with coconut, they go with plastics, they go with all other things, they bring tomatoes, they bring onions and pig feet and all those things. They've been trading quietly. First, we are looking at the centers where this trading goes on. We've identified a few market centers for a start, 4 of them. Then also we are looking at warehouses where storage will be provided. And in all these things, we work with the private sector. They tell us this is how we want it. So we build it, hand it over to them to operate. Then ECOWAS is also promoting each country the amount of trade. It's called a scorecard. Because we want to encourage us to trade so that we can develop metrics to measure it and count it as part of our economy. So that is component 3. But in all these things, our target is a little over 300,000 beneficiaries, 40% women. Because we believe that we want to impact on the youth and the women. And it should be simple and straightforward to be able for the youth to decide I want to go into agriculture. But you can only do that when you make it easier and simple for them to compare.